Good morning, everybody. Except it's not morning, it's afternoon, it's evening.
It's line dance night.
It's line dancing. Mama Badger's going line dancing. I'm just going to get some food. But anyway, today's episode is episode 19, I believe. But anyway, today's episode, we've been doing a lot of questions in our Facebook groups to kind of get to know everybody, right? And get everybody else to know everybody else and build those relationships, which is what Support Bikers is all about. So one of those questions was, what was the first motorcycle you ever had? And we have hundreds.
You know what mine is?
Hundreds and hundreds of comments on this. So I'm going to do my best to narrow it down to the top, top 5 bikes that people started with. But like Angie said, she knows what hers was. Mine was a little moped with a 5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton motor in it, and it had a little throttle that was it was thumb activated, but it wasn't like the thumb activated of today where you push it and it let off. It actually stayed in place, so you would push it and it would pull the cable and turn the throttle up. Problem was you had to untwist it to get the throttle off, so it was a little tricky. And I was young, and it wasn't very fast. Oh, I don't know, maybe 5. Very, very young. All right, Mama, so what was your first motorcycle?
Well, mine wasn't that long ago.
Right?
So in 2016, the first bike that you thought would be perfect for me, which ended up being the best thing for me, was a Honda Shadow Aero. What year was it? 2001?
1100.
Yeah, 1100, which when you guys meet me, you'll be like, oh my gosh, she's so tall. But he thought it would look funny in a smaller bike and needed a larger bike. So 1100 isn't what we would recommend for every woman rider out there, but it was perfect for me. And it worked for a year. I hated the way it looked, but it was okay. Like it took me on long trips, which were great.
She always said it was super ugly, so but it did the trick, right? Because my theory on first bikes, especially first street bikes, is buy a used bike. She didn't know if she was going to like it or hate it. Of course, we expected her to love it, but you just never know. So why would you go spend 25 grand on a brand new bike just to find out that you don't like riding bikes? Take a big hit on it, maybe drop it, maybe crash it.
Maybe. There's no maybe. It's going to happen. It happened twice.
And, she dropped a bike that we didn't care. We didn't have a lot invested in it. So anyway, that's our first bikes. And then after I'm done eating, I will give you guys the list of all of your first bikes.
And I want to know the stories, because it's the stories behind them that are really cool. So make sure, don't just put what your first bike was, but tell us a little story too.
Just make something up if you have to. All right, it's line dancing time. It's raining. It's fucking pouring again. I'm so sick of the rain. This is supposed to be the dry season. Stop.
Why was he looking at me when he said it?
All right, we are back and we are in the house, nice and dry, and let's tackle today's subject: first motorcycles. And I want to say we got 500 to 600 comments on this, and the one thing I can tell you for sure is there is a huge wide range of where everybody started. Some people didn't start till later in life, like Mama, and got her first bike was a street bike. Many of us started at like 5 years old on a little moped with a Briggs & Stratton motor on it. And then some of us started somewhere in between there. So when I asked the question, I went through all of those comments to see kind of what everybody started on, right? And so I figured I would just kind of, I don't know if I'm going to give you like a top 3 list because that's like really tough, but I can give you like the most popular bikes that people said that they grew up with. So one of those on the top of the level was the Yamaha YZs, the YZ 125s, the dirt bikes, right? I had an old Suzuki dirt bike back in the day, orange. I remember it like it was yesterday. But the YZs, they were hugely popular, at least in my era. And that's what a lot of people said that they started out with was a dirt bike. And you know, when you say dirt bike, and I say YZ because that's what everybody named, you know, Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, all of them had those dirt bikes, right? The what were they, 50s, 100s, 125s. I don't even remember what all sizes there were, but there was a group up to the 250s, right? And so many of us cut our teeth on the dirt with a dirt bike. I know I rode a lot of different dirt bikes out on the farm, but that's where a lot of us started. Another one is what I was talking about, which is your moped. And it was basically a frame, a seat, and a motor. And the motor was like a Briggs & Stratton. Here's a picture of one right here. But anyway, about as simplistic as you can get, but man, we had so much fun on those. And you know, they still make those style mopeds today. I actually did a little Googling to see. You can buy them today that look just like the ones. I'm sure the motors are better and the technology's better in them, but you can still buy one that looks almost identical to what we were running back then. But I will say, like, the leader of the pack, from all of my research and all the comments from everybody, Honda. Honda led the pack of bikes that people started out on. From their Honda Trails up to their CB line, and of course, you know, Shadows like Angie. I mean, she started on a Shadow, but Honda by far is the bike that people started out on, which is kind of funny, right? There's a lot of people out there that are die-hard Harley people. I prefer Harleys myself, but none of us, at least almost none of us, started on Harleys, right? We started somewhere else. We started on the Hondas, the Yamahas, the Suzukis, and then went up from there. But Honda by far led the pack when it came to the bike that people started on. And I did see the Trail 70, the Trail 90, the 50. I saw those repeated a lot in the conversation, and for good reason, right? Those were great fun bikes that were durable, and we had a blast with. But anyway, I thought you guys might find that interesting. I love, you know, hearing like where people started, and you know, to see what all of our fans and where they started. And the funny thing is, like, all of them have a pretty similar trajectory from the start to, you know, where they're at now. Anywho, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.